Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am so excited to have a conversation today with Germaine Foley. She is a certified life and money coach for women who make good money but aren't building wealth. She helps them take control of their finances and build wealth without losing the freedom to travel and or buy nice things. Germaine came to this work because she found herself in over $200,000 worth of debt and with very little savings, even though she had really good income. She figured out how to build wealth and enjoy life at the same time, and now teaches other women how to do the same. And I'm thrilled that she is here and that we are going to be talking about money. So, Germaine, thank you for being here. And let's just start off and tell us a little bit why you wanted to participate in a Women Leading Boldly Summit.
Hi, thank you so much, Karen, for having me. And yeah, I wanted to participate in this because the truth is there's so many amazing women leaders out in the world. And sometimes our financial situation doesn't necessarily reflect how successful we are in our careers and in our businesses. So that is what I love to talk about all day long. And so when I saw you hosting this summit, I was like, yes, I want to be a part of it. Let's talk about how we can align our career success and our financial success, because we know that not all the time is it always aligned, and we want to get those two things aligned.
It's such an important topic. It honestly is. And I think that we don't talk about it enough, or at least I live in Europe, and money, even if I'm American, Europeans just don't talk about money and have that open relationship to money. And I don't want to generalize, but I think it's such an important topic. So thank you so much for bringing it up and putting this on the table.
You are welcome.
So let's start. Why is financial confidence such a critical leadership skill, in your opinion?
Well, when you think about a great leader is decisive. They have clarity. They know what they want. They have a goal in mind and they're going after that goal. And I think that the same things can apply to your finances. And I don't think we know that. We don't put the two together. And so financial confidence is something that I just think we all can cultivate, just like we cultivate our leadership skills, just how we cultivate our career goals. We can create that financial confidence by just knowing, like, okay, this is what I want to create. This is the kind of financial security I want to have for myself. This is the kind of lifestyle I want to have for myself. That's the clarity. And then just making a decision that you're going to figure it out. Is it going to be easy right off the bat? No. But if you're willing to put in a little bit of effort and not give up when things go wrong or when things get hard, you can, just like you climb that career ladder, you can get your finances in a spot where you feel like, okay, I am creating financial security.
And so can you tell us a little bit about your story before we dive into some other questions? Like, why is this such an important topic for you?
Yes, because listen, my money used to be a hot mess. So in America, when we say something like a hot mess, it was just bad. Even though I made really good money in my career, I still make good money in my career. I have a career and I have a coaching business and I make great money. But back then, it was just like, I literally thought, Karen, that money struggle was just a part of life. Like I was dealt this bad hand where I was just going to be the one who would always struggle with money, no matter how much I made. And it caused so much stress. It caused so much anxiety. I remember when it was years ago, my company announced that they were going to do layoffs. And I was so stressed. Not because, oh my gosh, I might be out of my job. That was one layer of stress. But on the deeper layer, it was because I knew I had nothing. I had no savings. I was deep in debt. I had borrowed from, in the U.S., we have something called 1K, which is a retirement account that you can put money aside. I was putting money aside, but then I was borrowing from it because I needed to pay off my debt, and then I would run the debt back up. So it was like stress on top of stress. Layoff announcements are already stressful, right? But if you are not financially secure, if you haven't been planning, it's even more stressful. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the wake-up calls I had. And then it was like one of those taps on the shoulders, like, hey, you probably should do something about this. But then when I made the cut and I was fine, I didn't get laid off, I was back to my same old self, And then here's what got me though. I ended up having two amazing sons who are now like 19 and 17. And when they were in daycare, my daycare bill was the exact same amount as my mortgage. And that's when things just started to fall apart. And I was like, okay, I have to change not only for myself, but for my kids. I don't want to leave this type of legacy for them. And that's when I went on a mission to get it all done. And all of the experts were saying, you got to, sacrifice, get on a strict budget, cut out all the fun stuff if you want to build wealth. And that just didn't resonate with me. And it didn't resonate with my husband. And he was like, yes, Germaine, we need to do something, but we can't live it like that. And that's when the light bulb went off, like, oh, what if we could figure out how to build wealth and still have fun and still do things that will allow us to create memories and have a good life. And so that's what I did. We went on a mission to build wealth and enjoy life. We did it. We paid off all the debt, built up a multiple six-figure net worth, and it's growing all the time. And now I help other women do the same thing.
And I think the reason why I love the perspective so much is building wealth is about also abundance.
Yes.
And when you're on a budget, I don't want to say scarcity because I'm absolutely not a money coach. But it's a completely, even when you say that, and for people who are watching this on YouTube, if you could just see when Germaine talks about it, that it's coming from a place of abundance and not a place of scarcity mindset. So would you agree with that?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Okay.
And that's what I was avoiding. And Fidelity Investments, they did a study, a money mindset study, and over 70% of the people surveyed said that they want to build wealth, but they fear that they're going to have to give up their life. And so when you are faced with build wealth, give up my life, you kick the can down the road. You say, I'll handle that later. I'll save later. I'll invest later. I'm going to live now, and then later never comes. And I'm here to say, what if you didn't have to choose? What if you could do both?
Okay, great. So tell us a little bit how to do that. Because it sounds, because you're right. I think a lot of time we choose short-term solutions or short-term gratification and kick the can down the road, like you say. So concretely, what can women do? And I'm sure they're earning decent money. How can they manage that? Do you have some, like, where would you even start?
Yes, I get that all the time. Germaine, I don't even know where to start. And so that is a very common place to be. And if that's where you are, know that there's nothing wrong with you and it's normal. And I'm going to tell you where to start. The first place to start is to really get clarity and ask yourself, like, what does it truly mean for me to enjoy my life? What do I truly want to enhance my life? This is where I had to start, because when I went on the journey of, figuring out my money, I noticed that my money was going everywhere, any and everywhere. And it was a lot of impulsivity. I was using my money for emotional spending. If I was feeling bored or frustrated, or if I had a bad day at work, retail therapy was my coping mechanism. So I was using my money in ways that didn't really allow me to enhance my life. And so once I got clear on that, what is it for us? So for us, it was, especially when we had so much debt, we wanted to take family vacations every year. My husband and I, we had two young toddlers at the time, and he worked long hours. I was working full time. And we were like, we need a date night at least once a month. That was another thing that was important to us. And then we wanted our children to be able to participate in extracurricular activities. So while we were in debt, while we were in that season of life, we got super clear, like, what's important now. And so every month, when we created a plan for our money, I don't call them budgets, I call them a spending plan. Those three things were represented. We were saving for our vacation. We were putting them in karate and soccer and all those things. And we had our date night. So there was money set aside for those things. And then that freed up a lot of our income to hit our financial goals. So once you figure out what's really important, then look at your finances and say, where do I want to start? What's my first goal? For us, we needed to get out of debt because that was just stealing so much of our disposable income, and it was causing a lot of stress. And
Mm.
so once we knew what we truly valued, then that freed up money for us to really pay off our debt. And so that's a really great place to start is what are your values? What are the 2 to 3 things that are so important to you right now? And what is just one financial goal you want to start working towards?
Okay. All right. And is it something difficult to do? Do the women that you work with find that they really do they feel they have to give up a lot when they are building a plan?
Before they come to me, yes. But the reason why they come to me is they're like, Germaine, oh my gosh, I don't want to, I need to be able to shop sometimes. I need to be able to go on vacation. So that's why a lot of women come to me is because they know that I can help them do both, build wealth and enjoy life. Actually, that's what I call it. I call it the do both method, build wealth and enjoy life. And once we sit down and really look at their money, remember, we're talking about women who are doing well financially. Most of these women, even though they don't think so at the beginning, they have plenty of money to make this happen.
Okay. So are there also so I fully hear about defining values and what is important. A great place to start. Are there places that are actually women find relatively easy to stop spending?
Well, so spending is an action. That's something that we're doing. And you and I know that actions come from somewhere. We don't just do things. And a lot of times, and I kind of hinted to this before, a lot of my clients use their money to make themselves feel better. And that's not your money's job. And when you are using your money to make yourself feel better, there's just no way you're going to ever be able to build wealth, right? Because as a human being, you will have negative emotions. It's just a part of the human experience. And if you're trying to push those emotions away with your money, you're going to run out of money. And so that is a lot of work I do. So the easy part is like creating the spending plan, figuring out your values, setting your financial goals. The hard part is actually following through with what our plan is. And that is where we really work on the psychology of money. Like, why are you having these urges to spend? How can you cope with these urges? How can you allow them without giving into them? So the work I do is a lot deeper than just the surface stuff, but we got to get to the surface first. And then we go deeper to see why you can't follow through with this amazing plan that we've created.
And so you talked about it's not money's job to make you feel better. So what is money's job?
I know you were going to ask me that. I think of money as a tool that you can use to spend, to enhance your life, to give. So money is a tool to live your life. It is a tool that will help you live a good life today and tomorrow. So one of the things you want to do with your money is you want to spend it. You want to enjoy it, right? But do it from a place of, I'm already amazing. I'm already whole. I'm already good. And my money is just going to enhance my life, but not from a place like, money is going to make me this better person. Some people spend for status reasons, right? They are successful. So they're like, I got to have the house. I got to have the car. And that's going to make me look a certain way. So there's a lot of different things and layers around why people spend the way they do. I also love the fact that money is a tool that will make you money. Right? So if you invest your money, that money goes to work for you. So instead of you always being the person that's working for the money, you can have your money working for you too. So that's another thing your money is there for. So money is a tool to enhance your life, not to alter your emotions. No, it can seem like there might be a fine line there, but really, if you find yourself spending when you're bored, when you have a bad day at work, when you're overwhelmed, when you're anxious, then you know that you're using your money to alter your emotions to make yourself feel better. And that's just not money's job.
It's like overeating.
Yeah, exactly. Or over drinking or over anything.
Yeah, exactly. And why do you think that there's so much, and I don't know, maybe this is just a perception, but a lot of shame around money? Like, why is it such an emotionally heavy, and I said shame, but it might be another emotion, but why is it an emotionally heavy topic, do you think?
Yeah, I think shame is a great emotion to use here because I think we think, just like I did at the very beginning, I told you I thought it was my lot in life to struggle. I think most of us think we should just know how to handle money. We just think we should automatically just be good with money. And when we're not, we feel shameful. We feel like there's something wrong with us. We feel like, you know, it's our lot in life to struggle. I remember when I was in that situation, I was embarrassed. I was ashamed because on the outside, everything looked good. Like it looked like I was like doing my thing because I was in my career. But on the inside, it was just a hot mess. And there was a lot of shame with that because I felt like there was something wrong with me and I was hiding. I didn't want anybody to know. And so shame loves to hide. And so that's one of the reasons why I love having this conversation, to bring it out, because when you can deal with the shame and when you can say, you know what, I feel the shame, but I'm willing to talk to somebody about it, I'm willing to dig myself out of this situation, then shame has to kind of go away because now there's a light. And so you can feel empowered instead of shameful when you start talking about it and deciding you're going to do something about it.
Okay. Could you give us an example also of, like, a very concrete example of a client that would come to you? How would they express what they're struggling with? And kind of what is the process that, like, kind of paint us the picture of the before and the after?
Okay, I'm just going to give you an example of one of my current clients. So she came to me making really good money. I want to definitely 6 figures, maybe multiple. And she had a ton of credit card debt. She had some 401k loans, which meant she borrowed from her retirement account. And one of the things she said to me, and I think a lot of women can relate to this, was when I wasn't making money, this much money, I was very careful. I knew exactly where my money was going. I did, she used the word budget. I did budget. But once I was, started to do well, I figured that I didn't need to do that anymore because I knew I made enough. So what I find is that women who are doing well in their careers or businesses, they feel like because they're making good money, they don't need to really plan it. They don't need to pay attention to it because they know there's enough there. And they also think that I can just make more, right? I can just spend however I want now. I'm just going to make more. But no matter how much money you make, if you have a poor money management problem, you're just not going to, it doesn't matter how much you make. You're going to still have that poor money management problem. So with her, the first thing we did, again, define her values. I always start there. You have to know what is important to you because she was spending randomly. Then we got her goals together. Then we did a spending audit. A lot of people, they don't necessarily love when I say that, but afterwards, it's almost like how I just said, when you bring a light out, shame disappears. Like when people do this spending audit, they feel like a burden lift off of their shoulders because they finally see it. They're not avoiding it because avoidance causes stress. And when you're stressed about money, you don't show up as the leader that you really want to be at work, in your career. I mean, you can't, when there's so many studies that show that work performance, leadership performance suffer if you have financial stress. And so that's why a lot of employers now, they will offer financial wellness workshops for their employees sometimes because they know, like, if I can help them alleviate that, then we'll go there. The other thing she did, so what she did was we worked out of debt. So right now we work together for a year. I usually like to work with my clients in my program for an entire year because I think that's how much time you need to really just reprogram the way you handle money, to make mistakes, get back on track. I mean, you want to give yourself a luxurious amount of time to do this because you've been handling your money a certain way for decades, and it's not going to change overnight. So I love to work with my clients on a longer term. And she's completely debt-free now. And she's like, Germaine, we got to do it again because now that I'm debt-free, I want to stay that way. And so she ended up working with me for another year. And so right now she's just maintaining it. So all of that work we did, she's like, I just need I want it to stick. And so she's still in my program and we check in on a monthly basis, and anything that's kind of going left, I'm there to help her anything that's going wrong, I'm there to help her to get back on track, to help her to see what thought processes and habits are trying to creep back in. And so she can course correct. So that's how I like to work with my clients more longer term, but we're not necessarily meeting every week. It's more on a monthly basis.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what are, in terms of the thoughts or the beliefs around money that you see are most, I guess, detrimental
Yeah.
or that cause the most suffering? Like, what are those beliefs, and how do you replace them? How do you change them? And what maybe is a more empowering belief that people could take away from this conversation?
Yeah. So, I mean, the most common one is that I'm bad with money. That was mine. I mean, to believe that if you have an identity that you're bad with money, then you're going to manifest that. Like, that is how you're going to show up to money. That's what you're going to create. Another one is, these are surface thoughts. I don't know where to start. And so when we tell ourselves we don't know, our brain is confused, and then we just do nothing. When our brains are confused, we do nothing. So we have to stop telling ourselves that we don't know where to start, because I think we all have an idea of the first step we can take, just the first one. We may not know how to go from A to Z, but we definitely know the first thing we could try at least. Another one is money is stressful, or how they think about debt. The big one too is I'll just make more, because that just kicks the can down the road. It just gives you that permission to check out, and you turn out to be, it's decades later and you're still telling yourself I'll figure it out, or I'll make more,
Okay.
Yeah.
And are there one or two maybe really empowering beliefs that people move towards or get to at some point in time? I don't know. I love money. Money loves me. I don't know. Like, what are the most empowering thoughts around money that we could have, even if maybe some people don't see that now, but it's possible to actually get to that point?
Well, I love to take baby steps. So let's take I'm bad with money. I think a great step is like, maybe I can figure this money thing out. Because I hear all the time from women that so many other areas in my life are great. I have the career, I have the relationships, I have the friendships, but this money thing, this is the one area that I just can't figure out. So what if you could just say, like, maybe it's possible I can figure this money thing out? And then go from there, because it's really, really hard to jump from I'm bad with money to I'm amazing with money. So let's just start, like, is it possible? And then once you start questioning those thoughts and like adding a little bit of the seeds of doubt, then it'll free you up to take one step and then another step and another step. And then eventually you'll get to the place where, like, a lot of my clients are like, yeah, I got this. Like, I'm good with money. Yeah.
Okay. And tell us about your podcast, because I know you have a really successful podcast.
Yeah.
So tell us the name of it and what it's all about.
Okay. So my podcast is called Becoming the Wealthy You, and you can find it anywhere you listen to your podcast. And it's all about helping women to understand, like, wherever you are, you can become a wealthier version of yourself. We are all becoming, we're all learning. And really what I tackle mostly on that is the mindset, overspending, emotional spending. We talk about how to free ourselves from credit card debt. That's a big deal for a lot of women, is that they find themselves stuck in credit card debt. And even when they get out, they find themselves going back. So I do a lot of work around that. Saving money is another hard thing. A lot of women can't seem to figure out, they'll save, but then they'll spend it, and they're not in a place where they can, like, keep or have money in their lives. So we talk a lot about that as well. So yeah, if any of that resonates, I would love for anyone to listen. It's called Becoming the Wealthy You.
Yeah, and I'll link it in the show notes. And I think also what's extremely important that a lot of people maybe don't realize, but you tell me if I'm wrong, is that it's not just like building a budget. It's a mindset around money. And I don't know if people recognize that, because so many women have been told their entire life a story around, I don't know how to manage money, or whatever that story is. It's what we're talking about here is a mindset issue.
Oh, yeah.
And a belief issue. It is not an Excel table on, what's coming in and what's going out. Would you agree? Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. And yeah, I don't believe in strict budgets. I think they don't work. I think that's one of the reasons why most women just avoid it altogether. Because again, they can't fathom giving up everything they love
Yeah.
and be living this boring, frugal life, especially when you work so hard to earn well and do amazing things in your career. You want to be able to enjoy your life
Mm.
in the process. So
Okay. Um, and so tell us, first of all, is there anything that we haven't discussed today that, is on your heart that you would love to share with the audience? I want to make sure that I didn't forget anything important.
well, just to put like an exclamation mark behind what we just said, I want everyone to know that building wealth isn't about sacrifice. It's more so about the mindset and the strategy that you're willing to, work on. You do not have to put yourself on a strict budget. And my motto is you can do both. You can build wealth and enjoy life at the same time.
Mm. And I think and thank you for highlighting that again, because it's true. That's the first thing I think that the brain goes to is, what am I going to have to give up? And with what you're saying is that we actually don't have to give up things, but we just have to be more intentional about our choices and what's really important to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's a key takeaway. So, and also, so tell us where to find you. So there's your podcast. Do you also have another resource? And if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
Yeah, so I would love to invite the listeners to take my free training. It is called How to Build Wealth Without Going on a Strict Budget. And you can grab that at germainefoley.com/wealth class. That's Germaine with a G, foley.com/wealth class. And I'm going to give you the link, Karen, so you can put them in the show notes.
Yeah. No, I think it's such an important topic. And I really wanted to have you on the summit also because it's a topic that, at least in Europe, people don't talk about. And I think we should. So I also just want to thank you for being such an advocate on the topic, and because we needed to have this conversation. So thank you so much. I'll link everything in the show notes. And yeah, thank you for being here, and we'll talk soon. Take care.
Thank you.